So, we're here at Waterloo and we have just installed one of our new products called Newport, which is part of our Random Ashlar range. So it fits in next to Kilcare and Clancy, but it's a great new colour tone, a uniform white. It's a limestone, it comes from Greece. It's a very, very dense limestone. So it's the particle size, say, compared to a sandstone is much, much finer and it's much more dense and compact. So it's a very hard wearing, very dense sort of stone. On this wall here, we've laid the stone dry, so we haven't used grout. It could actually be laid with grout, and so in some other showrooms we will show, so in Brookvale, we will lay this with a grouted version as well, just to show people the way it can look quite different, to be honest. You know, if you show this in a grouted version, it transforms the aesthetic quite a lot. So obviously the way we'd lay a wall like this is, the first thing that you're going to do on site, and then when the guys lay this, is to actually get the stone and put it on the ground. So really when you're laying a stone cladding material, and that's why we work in small crates. So when we talk about clients, what are we doing? It's really pre-prepared stone. We're trying to make it life easy for the installer and kind of do the work that might be done, say in an old traditional way where people just get a whole heap of stone and dump on a site and then work it. What we're trying to do is pre-prep that in a factory or at a quarry site and package that in a way that when it comes to site it becomes easier to work with, so you can maintain control, speed of installation, really. So really how the guys were doing this, you get your crate out, get the full crate out on the floor, the one crate, and that's why 7 square metres is kind of a good number. This wall took about 4 days in total to do. So really, you know, it's about roughly 22 square metres. So really you're almost getting a crate a day for a team of say 2 people, roughly. It might be not quite that, but you know, sort of around 5 square metres per day of this sort of material for a team of 2 is probably about right. But anyway, so they work in small quantities. You get all the crate out of the stone out of the crate, put on the ground so you can get a visual impact of the different sizing, so that then you can pick and place, and it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. Then you're just working on as you go and then adjusting the stone as you go. But typically with a wall like this, you'd start at your corners, because that's obviously the critical bit, and then you'd basically work across the wall. You're not going to go too high because you're really wanting the tile adhesive to set, and so they go across the wall, and probably on the first day we got up to about this sort of height, and then the second day up to this height, third day to that height, and the fourth day was more cuts and detailing.
So has the stone gone straight from the crates onto the wall like that, or has it had to be manipulated to fit into pieces?
Yeah, David, why don't you talk about, and Doug, why don't you come in next to me? You might as well talk to me about what you do.
Yeah, basically we squared the stones off because some of them come with a bit of a split edge on them and things like that. So for instance, some of these ones, it could have come across like that. So we've squared the stone off. The stone actually, as Ben was saying, is a very dense limestone, so it can be shaped. It's almost like a chalk format, so it's not actually got a grain, it's multi-grain, so you can actually split that way and the other way. So go all the way around the stone with a hammer and chisel or with a brick hammer, and then just give it one final whack, and it should follow where you've got traced it out. And we found that it does, you can even scaffold it out a bit to get over ridges, so you can get that really tight look without having that cut edge squared look, you know.
Just onto that in terms of when we talk about stone. So, you know, Davey's saying this is a really hard, dense limestone. So often when people talk very crudely about categories of stone, you have granite is black, limestone's white and soft, and sandstone's yellow, right? That's very crude ways, but really stones are all unique and peculiar to how they formed. So in terms of when we talk about limestones can be very, very, some people think they're soft and white. Well, this is white, but it's also very, very dense. And why is it dense? It's dense because it's compact in terms of the grain size of the stone and also the pressure that's been exerted over time in the ground and how it's formed. So this material is very, very hard, very, very dense. It will wear very well with time. Look, it's white, so if I was going to put this outside and I was concerned about some oxidisation, and when we talk about oxidisation, we talk about pollution or mould occurring on a stone, sometimes with sandstone, particularly in Perth, you know, your WA limestone goes very black because it's a very soft, porous stone. This material is not like a WA limestone, so it won't perform like that. It will retain its characteristics a lot better, but it is white. So if you were concerned of that over a long period of time, you might use, say, a dry treat stain proof on this, and literally the way I'll be doing that is putting it into a pump spray and just literally giving it a pump spray after you've finished. What is that doing? Basically, it's reducing the amount of moisture that goes into the stone. That's predominantly what the sealers do. So they don't stop them from getting dirty completely, but they reduce the moisture, and therefore they reduce the things like mold build-up or oxidisation and that sort of thing. Why I like this stone is I like the uniformity of it, which I feel like it can go quite contemporary. So what's attractive to me that I feel like this sort of stone can be used in a more sort of provincial sort of way, and how it's been used here with the Jericho on the floor, it can go quite provincial. Probably I'd be more inclined to grout it personally if I was going for that look. In a dry look, I would see this working really well with grey stones, blue stones, Torinos, something that's quite contemporary, and I think it can actually go into a very much an internal, external contemporary. I see this as being a blade wall that through a very sharp contemporary house, and this is just a little bit of texture relief. What's good about it from that, it hasn't got lots of yellow, because yellow often can be quite a hard colour to work in design. It can throw, whereas this colour is going to be very sympathetic to work in with a contemporary colour palette.